and blessings, love and light. Greetings, season's greetings, even. What tidings we bring to you and your kin. Welcome to Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the Tuesday edition. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight, coming to hang out, shoot the shit, amongst other things. Celebrating 50,000 subscribers over at Black Liberation Media. Book. What, I don't know what. Woo, who knows what kind of book that was. I saw my hand motions. I said, what kind of book was that? Okay, yes, I may have hit the jade a couple times, a few times. I put it out. I said, nope, I will not be I will not be Kevin Spacey in this bitch. And I mean as in spaced out, not as in not as in predator. Though we are going to get a little predatory on some of what is happening in our country tonight, because it is so important that, counter narratives continue to be produced and then produced again, because America is going off the rails on the crazy train. Like, shit is too much. And if you are doing America sober right now, salute, because you are indeed someone of tremendous iron fortitude. I mean, I don't know who is doing America sober right now. Like, the elders not even doing America sober right now. The children is not even doing America. No one's doing America sober right now. How can you? How can you, when you have to face what's actually happening? Not even so much as a sense of despair as the country continues to unravel, but literally like a heightened sense of awareness. Like, if you are part of a marginalized group, if you consider yourself to be an ally or a comrade to a marginalized group, as a member of, not me, I'm not a member of the dominant group. I don't know why I did that. Maybe to bring attention to my club, my cleavage, as here doctor said. He called that shit cleavage with the straightest of faces. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, let me straighten back up. But no, it's serious shit out here, y'all. It's serious. It's a serious situation. And I may chuckle, I may giggle. Hey, I may crack a joke or several. I'm crying on the inside. Karate man hurt on the inside. Karate man bleed on the inside. That's what I'm doing. I'm lamenting from the inside. Certainly not lamenting the death of Charlie Kirk, and nor do I necessarily celebrate. It's really sort of like a heightened indifference, right? Like, it's extra shrugs. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, yay. It's like, funny how that works out, Speaking of Chucklehead Charlie, I would like for us to run through some of I wouldn't even say his greatest hits, but really his most intimate, public and deeply held views on a variety of things. Because in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder, his sniping, committed allegedly by another fellow white, raised conservative in an evangelical household, a Mormon whose daddy was law enforcement and also clergy, allegedly. Really the worst father. What did you just go turn your son in? Oh, god damn, terrible. This was intraracial violence, white on white violence, if you will. Of course, it's not being framed that way by the media. No deep introspection or sociological probing, analysis, trying to get to the bottom of the family structural, maybe issues within the home that could have driven this young man to commit such an act. Period. Regardless of who we was sniping at, we know how the young male whites get down in this country, baby. They go shoot up any fucking place: the church, the subway station, the Walmart, the high schools, plural, college campuses, plural. oh, the school shooters and mass shooters overwhelmingly being white males, they don't discriminate. And young Tyler Robinson decided to make a statement. But I want to get into, hold on, I want to talk, fuck all that shit. I want to talk about the people who are now suffering real material losses for stating their opinions online about how they felt and or feel about Charlie Kirk's death, right? He just passed away. We don't know what happened to Charlie. Nobody knows. He just died, right? And people are really losing their jobs. Why? Because they are being hunted and doxxed by Charlie Kirk sycophants, I suppose, by the right-wing troll army that, of course, has been in employ for these past dozen years or so. But we know it's a sophisticated operation. And I've seen people come on the internet losing their jobs from working as doctors in hospitals to software engineers at Microsoft, to school teachers. I mean, it's a real interesting shit show that's going on right now. But to my knowledge, who never faced material repercussions for their speech, for things that they said. If you guessed Charlie Kirk, you'd be right. You'd be right. You would be right. So let's listen. Will, let's go ahead and run them Charlie Kirk joints back to back to back to back to back. Because I don't think anybody ever called Charlie's board of directors at Turning Point USA because he had very derogatory things to say about everybody, basically. About I'm trying to think, what group should I name first, right? Black folks, gay folks, even though apparently he had a soft spot for gay folks, I suppose. But anyway, we'll listen to young Charlie's words out of his own mouth and you can judge for yourself. But anyway, go ahead and Will, let's listen.
George Zimmerman was hunted at night. George Zimmerman was hunted at night by Trayvon Martin at 2 a.m. and the stand your ground law allows you to stand your ground up against people that wish you harm.
People get reparations. Should black people get reparations?
I believe they should.
So I, white man, have to play for black people. Why?
Wow, that's a really selfish thing you
just
said.
Hold on. Why should I have...
That's a really non-empathetic thing to say.
Why should I have empathy for a race? I have white guilt because I breathe? Why should the white students here have to work harder to pay for black kids? What is that all about?
Not every black person has lineage connected to slaves.
That's true.
Every white person doesn't have lineage connected to slaves.
Yes, that's right. So since every black person doesn't have a lineage connected to slaves, why should we generalize and say reparations for black people?
Because there are people that are in a worse place.
So over 150 years, they didn't have any ability to make better decisions, to save money, and to invest. How about you take responsibility for your own actions instead of blaming the white man?
People are allowed to talk about black culture. Black people are allowed to talk about black culture in a way that white culture cannot. For example, black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did. So what are you gonna do, cancel me? Black people are allowed to say, I'm a grown man, I got way too much to worry about. Black people are allowed to say that there is a systemic fraud issue within the PP loan application in black America. Black people are much easier to be able to say that black individuals, despite being 13% of the American population, commit 55% of the murders. If most white people say that at a job, they would get fired for being a racist. I don't care because I say whatever I want. So black individuals have much more intellectual public freedom than white people do. If a white person were to come up and say, you know, black America really needs to get its act together and stop sleeping around all the time, and it needs to actually have
why would you
because it's true. Because
why would you just walk up to someone and talk and attack their culture from the outside?
Well, hold on, hold on. Let's look at the evidence. You said to myself, you said there's all these people suffering in Chicago. There's all these people that are terrible. I'm telling you why. It's because there's been bad decisions that have been instituted institutionalized, let me finish, and rap artists and athletes and people at the top level of black society that refuse to ever challenge the core rot in black America, which is that they are allowing degeneracy and hedonism to eat the soul of what once was a beautiful black culture, and instead they go around saying it's the boogeyman of racism, the white man is out to get you, and the result is black America is doing worse than it was in the 1960s. That is the contention, period.
It's not just that. It's a cultural. It's so much deeper than the present day we are in. I don't know why you're pretending like it just doesn't matter.
What doesn't matter? You mean things that happen? Again, I've been through this multiple times. Let me just ask you
but
one.
You're not listening to understand. No, you're listening to reply.
No, I'm doing both actually. And so, okay. But let me just ask one final question, right? Mm-hmm. Which is that you have your entire future ahead of you. Mm-hmm. When you are hired for a job, would you rather be hired because of your race or because of how qualified you are?
It doesn't boil down to just that.
That's what DEI is, man.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It is definitionally the hiring of people.
They're not just going to immediately see. You
get extra points if you're black with DEI. That's how it works. Racial quotas elevate people based on the color of their skin.
So do you think I got extra points to come here?
I don't know. You said you were qualified. But affirmative action was institutionalized in Harvard and in Texas and a lot of other places. We know this. So I again, TU, we don't like them, right? So, but again, I just want to I want to just repeat this point. Where can I go to work that you can?
It's not just that.
Exactly. There is nothing that is preventing black people from prospering. Nothing. The only thing is that you guys have been hypnotized to be victims of your own mind, to think as if there's a white person out to get you.
I'm sorry. Are black people supposed to be mourning the passing of a obvious junior Klansman? Charlie would have been president of the Youth White Citizens Council were this 50 years ago. They would have, just like the white supremacists and the Republican Party loved Charlie, what he did, what he brought to the table. Charlie bringing in all the junior Klans people to uphold the ideals of white supremacy. Now, it's interesting to me because this is the same person, who clearly thinks that at minimum, black people are indeed inferior. Again, wonderful bootstrap arguments coming from Charlie Kirk. No sort of self-reflection of the opiate crisis that has been running through white America for the past 2 decades plus. White children getting taken out of their homes and raised by grandparents and other family members in the foster care system. And nobody wants to talk about that in the white community. They don't want to talk about the child sex abuse issues that are pervasive throughout our society, but you find them cropping up quite often. Not only just white spaces, but white conservative spaces. The youth church pastor, the Boy Scout leader, the Republican, there was a story, goddamn, I meant to pull this shit up because I said, oh, I'm about to rinse white people with this one. But I mean, there's several stories percolating out there. Unfortunately, you do have to look for them because these are not widely reported. They're usually reported on the local level. I think the one I'm thinking of may be based out of South Carolina. But regardless, none of this speech was worth Charlie Kirk getting canceled over. In fact, he was platformed to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. See, that's the thing. In America, right conservative racist speech is always rewarded, okay? And even when you sometimes find the errant white person who may be who may say something racist online and they get called out and somebody calls their boss and they get fired, they can start GoFundMe accounts and raise hundreds of thousands of dollars because that is the way racist whiteness responds. It responds with its resources. It will always take up for and defend. Unfortunately, people with our political slant don't have those kinds of resources, not in the same way that conservative white America does, right? And now when I hear about these people losing their jobs, when I hear about an online database, I think it was called charliesmurderers.com. To my awareness, it has since been taken down. But at last report, I heard it had 20,000 names of people whose information had been trolled from the internet, and encouraging people to reach out to these folks' employers to try to make them lose their livelihoods. And this kind of behavior and action has been spurred on by Vice President J.D. Vance. I'm sorry, soon to be President J.D. Vance, because Trump's not looking good out here. Oh, that's another story. But and what's the bitch? Oh, excuse me. The widow. What's her name? Oh, Erica, right. Erica. Ooh, my girl was giving performance. I couldn't even clip the shit, even though I should have, because when she gave her address, what's this, Tuesday? I guess she gave that shit over the weekend. And it was covered. It was aired. I'm like, why am I seeing this on regular ass TV? This is weird. But okay, because she was making a open call for Turning Point registration. Come join, be a member. I'm saying, Jesus Christ, I hope Turning Point is paying for all this free advertisement. But regardless, my girl was giving performance. Okay, it was performance. I don't doubt. It may suck, I guess. I don't know. Why the white people in these spaces, they marry for different reasons. This shit is Game of Thrones. I'm not convinced. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm not wholly convinced. I was not moved by her performance. It wasn't giving genuine widow. Like, girl, somebody came and hooked up your face and your hair and wrote you a speech and you practiced it. You was ready. But in your man barely cold. He just been dead two days. And you ready to address the nation. Is that right? Sound like an actress, but okay. But anyway, she's gonna be fine. Like, if anything, she's gonna come up the most. And the right wing talking about, oh well, his kid's not gonna have a father. Okay. keep thinking that. Keep thinking that. They're gonna have a brand new daddy. I'm guessing less than 2 years. Mark my words. Regardless. She was, Miss Arizona. Oh man, come on. This girl ain't no rookie. She ain't no rookie. She about to be widowed, chilling. And you know what? Let me relax. The consequences for speech have only ever borne out, usually in fatalistic ways, for people who speak about our issues. Actually, that's not true, because I just remembered that George Wallace, you guys remember George Wallace? Mr. Segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. See, the trolls, y'all don't even know about that. See, you don't even know your people's history. The greatest hits of the races of the extremist right wing that made it into politics on a national level. George Wallace, former Southern governor, ran for president, caught two bows in Laurel, Maryland. Y'all understand why I scream out Laurel, right? There's not too many times. And the person was not the person who shot George Wallace. First of all, George Wallace survived. And the person who did shoot him did time up Cumberland, spent most of their time up Cumberland. White guy put two in George Wallace in Laurel. The white guy was not from Laurel, so it can't claim him as a hometown hero. However, it happened. It happened historically. I just wanted to share that. So I can't say that it's all that it's people on the left, because we think of political figures like Malcolm X, like Martin Luther King, the Kennedys. I do not consider them politically left, but mainstream America does consider John and RFK Sr. to be leftist or lefty on the political spectrum. So you think of well-known so-called lefty figures, the ones getting politically assassinated. No one talks about George Wallace, I guess because he lived. Charlie did not, unfortunately. Well, I guess that's all a matter of perspective. However, What he managed to accomplish was a further normalization of regular conversational dehumanizing speech about marginalized groups, right? He advocated for policies that actively hurt Black people. You know, diversity, equity, and inclusion gave folks what white people have enjoyed historically and the entire time in America. And it's amazing to me that white people who claim to at least have working knowledge of the founding of this country, they don't see what DEI, what they would call DEI when it applies to non-whites. They don't recognize that in the ways that they have been given advantages in this country structurally on every single level for the entire time. Black people weren't even recognized as human in the Constitution. That matters because that is the same sort of foundational thinking that explains the way Black people have been treated ever since that point, right? Ever since America's founding, it has been founded on the fact that Black people are inferior, right? And the only reason that we have accomplished anything is because we took it, okay? We demanded it. We fought for it. And I'm trying to tell you, whites, racist whites, we're not going back. we're not going back. Trump talks about, well, slavery was worse than death. Okay. Is that what you think? Because I can assure you, it won't be our, like, let me calm down, let me relax, let me simmer down. The speech issue. Let me circle back. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent. I told y'all I hit the J several times. So let me get refocused. Thank you all so much for being here. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's burn it down with Kim Brown. We do this Tuesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Don't forget to go subscribe to Black Liberation Media as well. Who else lost their job? The Washington Post opinion columnist, Karen Attiah, Attiah. Is that how you spell her last name? She reposted a Charlie Kirk quote and she was fired. She says that they didn't even meet with her. They didn't even let her get her shit, basically, before they summarily dismissed her from her position. And that is part and parcel, again, very representative of the hypocrisy of this nation. Free speech only applies to the right, and it only applies to speech that they agree with and they deem acceptable. Okay. And the news that the U.S. State Department, as part of a bill proposed in the House on the Foreign Services Committee by some cracker out of Florida, that the U.S. Secretary of State have the authority to revoke U.S. passports based off of speech. It doesn't explicitly say speech, though. It says that persons doing either trafficking or terrorism could have their passports revoked. And the terrorism part is the part, it's a little murky, because if you have been charged with terrorism and you have been convicted of terrorism, from the legal perspective, they would deem you to be a terrorist. But if you're just out here throwing out fucking accusations and slanderous, defamatory, libelous even, if you're just out here saying shit, like the Trump administration has a tendency just to say shit about people that may or may not be true, that has no factual basis whatsoever, can't be referenced or cited anywhere, because these motherfuckers just say shit because they just make up shit. What's to say that people's passports and their ability to actually leave and come and go from the country with clean legal records by a lot, like, this is what the fuck we're talking about. Like, and even if you on the right you should be concerned about this. Well, actually, that's a lie because y'all don't go no fucking where. Y'all not worried about it. Y'all don't go no goddamn where. Sometimes y'all might take a tow over to Cancun, you know, because, you know, your cousin Noah's getting married or some shit. You might go for the weekend. But y'all don't go no fucking where. So maybe this don't bother you. But for those of us that like to get the fuck out of America, I am concerned. I am very, very concerned. Because I'll put it to you like this. I've said it on here before, okay? Like, there's no point in me trying to mince words now. Y'all know who I roll with. Let me rephrase. It's not a roll with. I am trying to be very specific and intentional with what I'm saying because these motherfuckers will intentionally misconstrue shit. Jesus Christ, you can't even be facetious or sarcastic. Because they take everything literal and put that shit in the transcript and submit it to the court as evidence. Like, nigga, you're not even taking into account my tone of voice, the look on my face. What are we doing? So anyway, I don't oppose the resistance. Let me put it that way. I do not oppose the resistance. I absolutely do not oppose the resistance. Okay? Does that express material support for the resistance? I don't even know none of the H group's Cash App. You understand? Like, when I think material support, I'm thinking you done random niggas some money. I'm thinking, what? I don't even fucking know. Would a like on a post be considered material support? Like, everything is so arbitrary right now. And it's dangerous. It's very, very precarious because I really think we are probably at an after times moment now with the assassination of this fucking dork. Like, the Trump administration and with the Republican support, which they are desperate to hold on to in Congress. That's why they cheating and trying to redraw the congressional districts at the midpoint and shit in between censuses and whatnot. Just absolutely ridiculousness. But the Trump administration is absolutely using this opportunity to crack down on the left, the radical left, even though they need to be checking their fucking kids. But we're going to get into that a little bit later in the show. And everyone is going to be considered the left, y'all. You know what I'm saying? They started with migrants. they started with people coming from other countries who speak other languages. And next they're going to be moving on to the dissidents. Well, and to be clear, niggas is always on the menu, okay? Like, we don't ever fall out of favor for being fucked with by the state. So on the list, niggas is omnipresent, right? We always gonna be there because they love to hate us the most. But now it's on to the dissidents. So simply just disagreeing or not emoting publicly in the correct way for the assassination of a Klansman is enough to get you deemed potentially as a terrorist. Being in support of a free Palestine is enough. Could be. Well, fuck, in the UK, it is enough to get you labeled a fucking terrorist. Palestine Action, the UK-based group, prescribed as a terrorist organization. Shout out to the UK. Some radical whites, elderly whites out there in their wheelchairs, in their walkers, voluntarily getting arrested for holding up signs and wearing t-shirts in support of Palestine Action and all the people of Gaza and saying no to the genocide. These people are being charged with terrorism, okay? We next. That's next. But you know, we'll never get charged with terrorism? Great replacement theorists. Did you know who'll never get charged with terrorism? Ku Klux Klansmen. You know who'll never get charged with terrorism? The Proud Boys. You know who'll never get charged with terrorism? The Oath Keepers. Come on. You know who never get charged with terrorism? All of these fucking clean-faced, pubescent, white boy mass shooters, killers. Never get charged with terrorism. So I wanted to say this, like, if you're a person who is gainfully employed, if you're gainfully employed and you express opinions of the political sort online, keep it fucking cute, okay? It's real shit out here right now. If you have a family to support, and I'm not telling you, excuse me, I'm not suggesting in any way that you abandon your principles. But livelihoods are being snatched based off fucking unscrupulous trolling on the internet that has now entered real life. And again, that's not a new entry into real life, but continues to permeate people's real life situations. Okay, just because some motherfucker had too much time on their goddamn hands to search for bullshit on the internet to piss them off, and then summarily track down an individual to try to bring harm to their life economically in some way. Okay, so if you're gainfully employed, maybe chill out a little bit, and chill out to the point that even if you have your social media settings on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever, like reserved to close friends, some people are getting dimed out by niggas in their close friends group. Because why, y'all? Why? Because it be your own niggas, okay? Not everybody that's around you like you. Not even everyone that's a love you that claims to love you, that maybe even shares DNA with you, may not have your best interests at heart, right? Have these conversations in real life. You know what I'm saying? Face to face or on the phone. Because we got to survive out here at the end of the day, right? And it's much more of a challenge to try to survive without a job, without having one lined up. And if you get fired out of the blue, that job market is tight out there. So I hear. As I hear, it's tight out there. So we're going to be smart. Okay. We have to be strategic in that way, that we make sure we keep food on the table, especially if we have mouths to feed. And that does not equate compromising your values or your principles in any way. Okay. But if you ain't got no job, Tommy, or if you are self-employed or independent contractor or whatever, and you've already been vocal online, loud up the ting, loud it up, because we have to counter a lot of this bullshit, right? I'm about to talk about what Tyler Robinson has been accused of being a part of, and how some of that is being debunked. But I want to talk about it from the perspective of y'all got to be watching y'all kids out here on the internet, y'all, because they white friends are weirdos. Okay, and I don't want your children to get corrupted by they white weirdo friends. Okay, so that's coming up here in a second. But to put a point on the whole issue of free speech in this country, free speech has never been free. Black people have hung from trees, maybe even today continue to hang from trees, for simply existing, for being Black, but also having the audacity to not only question, but confront the overwhelming oppression that our people have endured here since day one. Okay. That speech has never been free from consequence, never free from violence. And usually we don't dispense the political violence in that way, but when it happens, we recognize it. Though I'm not convinced that Charlie. Anyway, let me take a break. Let me tank on fine. I would. Girl. Alicia. Now, I know y'all may have heard me talk about 3-Eye Atlas today on the morning show. And I know y'all like, we need to get Kim some help. Because Kim is talking about the aliens coming. I know y'all like, listen, I know y'all sending Kamal messages on the low. I'm concerned. Kim is talking about the aliens, and someone should go check on her. Real quick, Meet Knowledge supporters. Last week, Mike Mack, appreciate your Cash App support. Librarian, thank you so much for your Cash App support. You guys are awesome sauce. No, but back to 3-Eye Atlas. I'm not saying, I'm just saying what they saying. what they saying is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on 3 Eye Atlas. Let me go there real quick and I'm gonna get right back off. Okay. So 3 Eye Atlas is this interstellar object that they only picked. How the fuck they only pick it up in July? That shit is crazy to me. But they only, I say they, who is they, Kim? They, the niggas with the telescopes. Keep up. keep up. They, the niggas with the telescopes. Okay. They only picked this shit up in July. And they said, hey, that's a comment. And they said, wait a minute. maybe if that's a comment, that's the fastest fucking comment that they've ever tracked. Ever. And they said the shit is on a direct trajectory, but hold on. But they also said the shit be maneuvering. Holy shit. They said if it was a fucking asteroid or if it was a comet, the shit would be straight. They say this shit be fucking dipping and diving and moving and grooving and shit. Oh! And they said it's giving off all kinds of emissions. And they said it's moving so fast, y'all. They said the shit's moving incredibly fast. So we about to find out. They said it's going to be here into October. I heard October 29th or early November. I mean, I just want to know, I mean, are they picking up rides? Like, are they passing through? Are they coming to take? It's weird. It's like either take me or take the whites. Like you can't. I cannot coexist. Okay, I do not have a coexist bumper sticker on my fucking car. I don't have a car. But my point is, it's either me or the whites. You either have to come take me or you have to come take all of the whites. Okay, and well, not all the whites. You can leave Franny. You can leave Dawn. You can leave Silver. You can leave Vesper. Who else is white in here that we love? We got some whites we love, but you can leave the whites we like. But please take the rest of the whites. Take the rest of them. Take them all. Take the Russians. Take all of them. Take all of them niggas. Australians, don't forget to pick them up. Please. Oh, it's a big ship too. They said this shit is like, oh my gosh. They said this shit is like 20 miles across, 7 miles long. Oh my goodness. They said this shit is giving off like nuclear emissions. Y'all. Y'all. So I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't worry too much about what the right's going to do, because listen, when every eyeball in the world is looking up, all beef is over. The beef is immediately over. You know why? Because anyway, let me calm down. Y'all gonna tell Kamal to come check on me, and I'm gonna tell Kamal to get the fuck off my porch. I'm sorry. Is this high ramblings? No, it's not high, because I'm not making this shit up. Like, go look up the shit, the 3 Eye Atlas shit. The scientists are befuddled. Anyway, I'm okay, everybody. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. I think I'm responding well given the conditions. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. Right. Who said that? Vesper. Can I get a window seat? Whew. Listen, Vesper, I just want them. Listen, aliens, I just want to be in an altered state when you do your experiments. It's fine. Like, I mean, I won't even feel them shits. Where are we going? Woo. Anyway, the thing about the aliens, y'all. Oh, and that's the other thing. Hold on. I'm gonna get off the aliens real quick. So Afra, they either have to take us or they have to take the whites. It's a big ship. I think they could probably accommodate all of the whites. They should take, goddamn, every time I want to say take them all, I'm like, but what about Franny? Don't take Franny. Don't take Vesper. Leave them. You could, okay, anyway, y'all got to mark yourselves somehow. I don't know. Anyway, hold on. Okay. This is also part of the reason I think that the 3 Eye Atlas shit might be them niggas, like, because the congressional hearings. Maybe I should do a segment on this, but I don't want that kind of attention on it. But anyway, the congressional hearings, they have had the goddamn military niggas, the retired military niggas, the active duty military niggas. These niggas is talk about the shit they done seen out there for decades. These first-hand accounts from these, credible sources, these former military men, these people on the air base at the nuclear missile stations and shit, that they just say that shit be flying over and shutting down all the nuclear facilities. Y'all, why are they allowing this time being the government, the deep state, why are they allowing this kind of revelatory stuff coming from their own people, right? People that the American people would give credence to. Why are they allowing this information out now when they have made so many attempts and successfully quelled and quashed talks about UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call it these days? Like, why now? Why now, you ask? Because them niggas is on the way. Them niggas gonna be here for Halloween, and everybody's gonna be like, "Ooh, Trump is pulling out the new military shit." It's not gonna be Trump. It's not gonna be Trump. It's not gonna be China. It's gonna be them niggas from a galaxy far, far away. And we better hope they come in peace, because if they don't, we are done for. We are done for. Absolutely done for. Ain't no Independence Day. Will Smith is not coming to save us. We're going to be done for. So anyway, maybe don't worry so much. Oh, you might be short on the rent. The holidays coming up, you may not have enough for the house. I wouldn't even worry about that shit. I wouldn't even worry about that shit. I wouldn't even worry about that shit if I were you. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, gang. Was that too much of a tangent? Did we lose all the trolls because I stopped talking about Charlie Kirk? Oh, damn. Wilbur, do we have any acknowledgments? I did not see any boxes per se. No acknowledgments. Okay, that's cool. Excuse me. How many people we got with us tonight? Just a few?
We got 70 people currently.
I take it.
And like you said, no announcements, acknowledgments. But like and share anyway.
Appreciate it. All right, gang. So I wanted to move along here, and let me assure you, this is probably the first and last time I'm going to talk about this, because I do not like to mind white folks' business. Okay, like that. When it comes to white on white violence, I would love for the white people to interrogate their own shit. Okay, I have lots of critiques in the way that Charlie Kirk had critiques for the Black community. Again, the difference is Black community critiques itself often, and many in our community are attempting to provide solutions. But the problem why these issues persist is because we are constantly and consistently up against structural challenges, barriers, obstacles, walls, floors, all the things that continue to be put there, and the goalposts are continuously moved. And then for every step forward, we end up taking 2 steps back, because in the way that DEI and affirmative action have been erased, that provides more challenges for accessibility for Black people, for, mobility economically. Regardless. So anyway, speaking of white culture, so it's been widely reported that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old alleged sniper of Charles D. Kirk, or J. Kirk. Is this nigga named Charles James Kirk? Like James T. Kirk? You know what? I'm gonna leave. I don't even give a fuck. But anyway, Tyler Robinson has been widely reported to be part of an alt-right extremist group called the Gripers. Okay. Now, I'm old. Okay. And I knew I was old, but when I was going through these videos and learning about not only Groiper culture, but the ways in which a bunch of other alternate or marginalized identities still align with far-right ideals, Nazism, ultimately white nationalism, the shit made my hair hurt a little bit, because I'm like, but I'm trying to process it all. So I wanted to talk about or go down a tiny rabbit hole. I've been inspired by Renee. But I'm going down a tiny rabbit hole here about this alt-right groiper culture for one reason only, because I know we have parents, we have aunts, we have uncles, you people have young folks in your sphere, in your house, in your orbit, right? And we as elders may not be aware of internet subcultures and the like, but the kids are, okay? And because the kids are, we need to be aware of the shit, because if you are a black person or a non-white person, your kids' white friends are weirdos. Okay, your kids' gaming friends, the ones they meet up with online every day to play the game, your kids is out here playing games with very strange children. Okay, very, very strange young people. And these are things that you need to be made aware of. So here's the thing. I've assembled some videos, of course, of folks who are far more prized of these things than I. We're going to start with, hold on, let me pull up her name so I can attribute this to her properly. But she's giving I'd call it like an academic breakdown of the difference between the far right wing evangelical Christian conservatives, the Charlie Kirks, you know what I mean? I guess Candace Owens, I don't listen to that, bro. I don't know what the fuck she be talking about, but we'll stick with Charlie Kirk. So people that hold the Charlie Kirk ideology of what I consider to be radical conservatism, but haha, jokes on us. Turns out that Charlie Kirk not right enough for certain aspects of the right. And Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter, was and is, I guess, being aligned with the groiper groups led by white nationalist podcaster Nick Fuentes. Though some new reporting from both Ken Klippelstein reported that Tyler's immediate friend circle did not describe him as a groiper. So that's interesting, but we'll get to that in a second. So anyway, I wanted to play some clips. So wait, I'm my dumbass. Open Google Docs. This lady gives a really interesting explanation. And like I said, she kind of gets into some semi-academic terms. She's going to use terms. Now, again, I know we have a wide range of ages that watch this program. So just a primer real quick. Incel is involuntary celibate. Okay, that is what a lot of these little dorks on the video game communities, I'm sorry, no disrespect to the dorks, but I mean, they claim to be involuntarily celibate because they don't like women, or they're scared of women, or they hate women. There's a lot of entrenched misogyny in these spaces that presents itself a little different than it does from the Charlie Kirk wing, right? The Charlie Kirk wing just wants you bitches to have babies at any cost, right? Even if it costs you your life and your health. However, the groiper wing, they hate women so much that they don't even want to be with women. They want to turn the soft homie in the crew into a woman, but they don't refer to the soft homie as a trans person. They refer to them as a femboy. And I want to be clear before I play any of these clips. Like I said, this lady's about to try to break it down in a semi-academic way or a fully academic way. No disrespect to her, but ultimately, what I want you to come away with is that you're not going to understand this. Okay, like you're not going to understand this political ideology because it's not meant to make any sense. In fact, it's with intentional, with true intentionality, that it is meant, the true meanings of anything that these groipers say or do is meant to be misconstrued. It's meant to be interpreted in a wide array of ways, and no, you'll never know what the true intentions of any of this shit is, which could be a reason why they say Tyler Robinson is not being cooperative. He's not, I wouldn't be fucking cooperative either after your daddy done told on you, nigga. God damn. Damn. Don't talk to them. That's like me. Calm down. All right. So this first lady, her name is Cy Cantarell, and Cy offers her credentials, and then she offers an explanation that, listen, many of us are not going to get, right? Especially if you're of a particular generation. I know white people, I don't know this version of white people, okay? Like, I don't know deep internet culture white folks, right? That is a portion of the I mean, not really. Not to traverse in their spaces. I've seen them, I've been trolled by them, I've been all that bullshit by them, but I don't hang out where they at. You understand? So I don't know what the fuck they do, what the fuck they be talking about. But I guess we should know because your kids know ultimately. So anyway, we're going to start with Cy Cantrell and just pay attention to some of the vocab. So pay it. Yeah. Let's take a listen. Thank you, Will.
I wanted to jump on and add some quick gloss on recent events that might help folks who aren't plugged into the far corners of the internet make better sense of the motivations and actions of two major right-wing groups that are involved in the recent events. If you're looking at a swirl of cryptic memes and trying to reverse engineer a motive, you're going to misread this story. What looks like politics is often subculture. What looks like a manifesto is sometimes a dare wrapped in a joke, wrapped in a void. And two families on the right keep getting mashed together in coverage. There's the mainline far-right Christian nationalism, and then the Groyper scene, especially its black-pilled accelerationists. They overlap in rhetoric and enemies, but they don't want the same future, and they don't use the internet in the same way. Groypers refers to a youth-driven online far-right scene that's associated with the America First brand, which is led by Nick Fuentes. Black pill comes from incel forums and signals fatalism, so no improvement in humanity is possible, and thereby despair is rational. Acceleration in extremist context means stoking crises to hasten societal collapse. You can think of this as builders versus burners. And so for Christian nationalism in its hard right form, it's still builder energy. It insists that the nation is or should be explicitly Christian, prizes hierarchy, order, and a return to rightful social roles. But the strategy is institutional. They want to win elections, they want to pass laws, they want to staff the courts and capture the school boards and rechristen the public square. And you hear vocabulary about restoration and revival and sovereignty and virtue. And this imagined endpoint is a moral order enforced by the state. And even when their rhetoric gets apocalyptic, the plan is still state power. The Groyper world orbits a completely different sun. It's youth heavy, it's a coalition that includes a lot of streamers and online personalities, and it borrows from incel forums, gamer chat, crypto cynicism, edgelord comedy, and a lot of terminally online irony. Here's the core distinction. The black-pilled wing does not believe in reform, not of institutions, not of culture, and not of people. The black pill is the conviction that decline is irreversible. If nothing can be redeemed, then the only creative act is negation. And that's where accelerationism comes in. In this context, acceleration means pressing on every social fault line, race, gender, religion, class, until something breaks. It is not policy, it's physics. The expectation is collapse, followed by nothing. Unlike some white supremacist or apocalyptic Christian variants that at least fantasize about what comes after, mainstream black pill content rarely sketches a constructive post-collapse order. It's entropy worship. Speed the unraveling and enjoy the spectacle. A quick detour so that we don't mix wires here. Black-pilled accelerationism is not the same thing as tech bro AI accelerationism. The latter is a futurist, albeit doomy faith about speeding technological progress even at humanity's expense. Black pill is a social political fatalism that invites breakdown. Different crowds, different goals. It's also distinct from the more formal Christian nationalist project. The language sometimes rhymes, both talk about decay, but Christian nationalists think institutions can be repurposed. Black-pilled Groypers think the institutions are rot. So why the memes that look like riddles? Because the memification is the ideology. The style is the substance, or as Marshall McLuhan said, the medium is the message. The meme factory does 3 jobs at once. Number 1, it allows for recruitment at scale. So high contrast, darkly funny, and deliberately absurd images travel farther than policy papers. A kid who would never sit through a speech will swallow 100 images that say more, faster, and sneakier. Number 2, plausible deniability. Irony is a Kevlar vest. If you take it literally, they were just joking. If you miss the reference, you reveal you're out of the club. The ambiguity is the shibboleth. And desensitization, number 3. Shock is used like a gym routine. The first time you see it, you flinch. The 10th time, you smirk. By the 100th time, a position that once looked unthinkable has been normalized inside the in-group. That's why the aesthetics feel like a mashup of cartoon frogs and Wojaks and glitch art and millenarian doom and consumer culture parody. The mix says nothing matters, everything's a joke, nihilism is the punchline. So who gravitates to black pill spaces? It's often younger men who feel exiled from status games that they think they can't win, like dating, elite colleges, prestige jobs, coherent communities. It's cheap status. Attention is the currency, and it bonds people who may never meet offline. That helps explain the why behind cryptic inscriptions or symbol-laden posts around real-world incidents. From the outside, we assume conventional motives. Ideology leads to a plan, leads to an act. Inside black pill worlds, the act is also a content drop. It's performance for an audience that reads the references, a proof of membership to people you only know by handles. Decoding the references isn't about uncovering a coherent program. It's about recognizing an identity and a dare. Don't confuse the absence of a blueprint with harmlessness, however. A politics of negation can still inspire catastrophic acts because the metric isn't does it build, but does it break? This is why For the Lulz can be both a smirk and a sincerely held view that only destruction has meaning. However, not every meme holds the same ideology, so the same image can be repurposed by different factions. What matters is the cluster: fatalism, edgelord irony, collapse talk, and status seeking through shock. When analysts try to read an incident through the old left-right scripts, they're going to miss the performance layer. If the actor is steeped in black pill culture, the motive vector points as much toward in-group status and mimetic spectacle as it does toward any policy aim. That doesn't excuse anything. It just changes the explanatory frame. You're not parsing a legislative program. You're reading an attempt to turn reality into a toxic in-joke. Last piece. Why the black pill is sticky. It packages 3 things people crave when they feel powerless: certainty, community, and a role. Certainty says the game is rigged and doomed. Community says we are the ones who get the joke. And a role says speed the ending. It is a toxic story. It's also tidy, and it's available 24/7 on your phone. The antidote is not to romanticize institutions that have failed people. It's to refuse the seduction of entropy as identity. Call the black pill what it is: a permission structure for cruelty wearing the mask of sophistication. Then do the unglamorous work of making meaning and belonging where spectacle can't compete. That is the difference in one line. Christian nationalism is a plan to rule. Black-pilled accelerationism is a plan to ruin. If you keep that polarity in mind, the memes stop looking like mysterious runes and start reading like what they are: billboards for a politics of nothing. I have a corollary essay up in the orange place on kitsch and its role in mainline right-wing Christian nationalism if you're so inclined, but otherwise I will see you soon.
Now listen, I know she said quite a lot there. That's like my 3rd or 4th time hearing that, and I'm still like trying to I'm trying to make sure I'm following it. But that helped to crystallize things a little bit for me, because as much as the right, including the president, the vice president, all of these fucking online Klansmen burning crosses in people's comments over Charlie Kirk, They are the moderates, right? As far as this far right groiper ideology is concerned, but but they are trying to frame the left as the issue here. Wait a second. I had a brain fart. And I'm sitting here paying attention too. Hold on, let me start over. My sis said something that jumped out at me. She said, attention is currency when it comes to these politics. There we go. That's where I was going. When she talked about the politics of nothing when it comes to this particular ideological aspect of the far right, it doesn't mean anything. Like all these memes and all that stuff, you got to consider the kids that started off in Reddit and started in gamer chats and all of that stuff. These kids are young adults now, right? And they are in on a whole subculture, a whole vocabulary, a whole nuance in these memes that the elders that we are absolutely not privy to. You know what I mean? And the only way you would be privy to it is if you spent a lot of time, if you were deeply online, the way that these kids who were, born in the 2000s and were given, cell phones by middle school, but they've always been playing video games. And I gotta say, y'all, a lot of these kids across racial lines are really unsupervised in these online spaces. This is why I want us to pay attention to what these motherfuckers be talking about, or at least some of the folks that are about to give us some information, some nougats out here, because I know y'all not watching y'all kids online. I know y'all not watching y'all kids online. Not all of yous. Some of yous, yeah. But listen, your kids go hang out with other kids, right? Even if you are watching your kids, you know how it goes. They little friends' parents is, not as attentive, right? The kids is going to get the exposure, so it's important for the adults to have the information and to be able to ask your children what they know, what they've seen, what they've heard, and what they think. Okay, because we cannot leave it up to other little fucking knuckleheads to socialize and normalize a lot of this stuff for our children, and they need to be able to recognize it when they see it, right? And that was the other thing she brought up. She talked about the performance aspect of some of this. And not to say, again, I want to be clear here, it is not 100% confirmed nor verified that Tyler Robinson identified as a groiper. According to his folks, per the reporting of Ken Kippelstein, I'm so sorry, Mr. Kippelstein, I keep stumbling over your name. His people, his friends described him as relatively apolitical. They described him as bisexual, though I'm not clear whether or not Tyler was out to his family. I don't know how the Mormons roll with homosexuality. I assume not well, but some folks are open-minded, though it has also been reported that his dad, or at least Tyler, had expressed that his father had become hardcore MAGA since Trump's reelection. I don't know how he would have felt about his boy living an alternate lifestyle given the Mormon family value structure, right? So there's that. So I want us to go to the next video here, because this is, everyone's young to me. I have no idea how old this person is, but I wrote it down as a young gamer shed some light on the gaming aspect, the video gaming aspect of this. And to be clear, for all of our youth viewers, all three of you, well, Tyler and who, whatever young folks decided to come in and check in and see what the fuck Auntie was in here ranting about. Really, I'm giving this information for the benefit of my generation and older, because and some of y'all older millennials, because I'm like, nigga, what? But okay, so the engravings on the bullets have meaning, okay? They are not manifestos. These are repurposing of vintage online memes, I guess is the best way to describe it, though this younger person is about to say it way better than me. So let me just kick it over to the young people. Let them describe it, and y'all follow along as closely as you can. All right. Run it, Will. Thank you.
I'm going to break this down really simple. The Charlie Kirk shooting and the assassination, the shooter, he made the shooting a shitpost. He's a deep internet troll. He's a meme lord, okay? His biggest accomplishment, of course, is gonna be a shitpost. The 4 bullets he engraved, they all are shitpost meanings. They're all deeped in irony because that's what a meme, edgy, fucking 4chaner does, okay? The Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao. It links to Hearts of Iron 4. I've played Hearts of Iron 4. I don't play it because I'm a weirdo. I play it because I like killing Nazis. So I usually go as the allies to kill Nazis. However, that's in the game, and the game is very, very heavily played by alt-right extremists because they get to play as Nazis, and they don't really have to really do the, like, talk about the worst part about being a Nazi. They get to just be a Nazi, pretty much. So they really like that game. It's also, so it's used in that game a lot, ironically, by fascists, okay? The hey fascist catch, and then the Helldivers, 500 kilogram thing is ironic because that's what they say in Helldivers. I play Helldivers. I play with my friends. It's a very big game. That's a voice line in the game. It says, hey, fascist, catch, when you throw the fucking stratagem where you put the arrows into. That's more irony. The alt-right loves Helldivers because you play as this democracy, like, first thing where it's just the whole game is meant to be ironic, where it's like you're not actually meant to be, like, happy that you're doing this because you're actually just perpetrating, like, the American imperialism it's in a game now. But fascists love this because they get to just be fascists in a game. Are you clicking it now? Are you understanding where their headspace is? Okay, so let's keep going. If you're reading this, you're gay, LMAO. That's the most shitpost thing you can get to in internet culture. Easy peasy. Notices your bulge. Ooh woo, what's this? That's the crowning one, okay, for his boyfriend or girlfriend to be a femboy transgender. That's what makes sense. That's what they do. They're incels. They're groypers, okay? What their whole thing is that they're afraid of women. Women scare them. So what they do is they feminize the men in their circles into femboys. There's a whole, you could watch so many videos on this, on people who can give you better, like, interpretations and analysis than I do, okay? You can look it up. But they have whole recruiters for them. Their whole thing is they'll dress in military gear with fishnets and lingerie underneath. That's the whole thing. It's irony. You guys are missing the entire irony of their lifestyle. Their entire lifestyle is nothing. It's nihilism. It's irony. It's shit posting. You guys are getting beat by the nihilists right now, by the nothings, by the people who care about whose political belief is like nothing. Like it's the Nick Fuentes types. Like, you don't understand. The Nick Fuentes types are the people who he shits on the people donating to him. He tells them, fuck you, kill yourself, after they try to, like, connect with him. Because it's irony. It's all nothing. They understand this. It's their fucking thing. And you guys can't you guys can't wrap your head around it for some reason. The right is just so dead set on this being a liberal that did it. They can't think that the far right is something that they should worry about.
Oh, I'm worried. So it's not supposed to make sense. It's not a political ideology, or maybe it is and it's not meant to be. That's not the intention. Or maybe it is a political ideology and they don't know it. But it's politics about nothing. It's actions just to get attention in order to be king of the shit posters. It's not supposed to make sense, everybody, and that's what I want you to understand. Like, if because I for the past couple of days I've been looking at these videos and I'm like, god damn, this shit's making my fucking head hurt because I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it. But once I let go of the need to apply logic and to have a rational outcome that I could understand and interpret to come out of all of this information, I said, okay, once I let go of the need for it to make sense or for me to understand it, then that actually brought it more into focus for me. I said, it's not supposed to make sense. These motherfuckers is just out here angry at the world, apparently. And that is what I find kind of interesting. First of all, you heard the young man there, and I appreciate actually his frustration, because it is a generational frustration, everybody. If you're old millennial or Gen X, boomers, this shit is going to go way over your head. But it's what I need you to understand. Your children and your grandchildren understand this shit. They understand the meanings of the memes. They understand the meanings of the video game codes, and all of that has subtlety and nuance and a sense of being in the joke. I get the joke because I've seen it in these forums or on these video games or on these different platforms. And the young people in your life, those that are 20 something now, 10 years ago, they were preteens, right? Or young teenagers, young adolescents. Younger generations, Gen Z and now Gen Alpha, have been deeply steeped in this stuff. And again, y'all not watching your fucking kids. We know the whites don't watch their kids, but I'm telling y'all need to be watching y'all children out here, because this shit is, it is shaping their worldview in a way that is deeply unhelpful. Okay, it's not helpful. And I want to be clear here. I'm about to play a video about the concept of the femboys in this alt-right culture, because again, it's very contradictory, I guess, on its surface, but maybe if you looked a little closer, maybe it does make sense. But this is why I think the JD Vance wing of the conservatives are pointing the finger at the so-called left, because of the fact that Tyler Robinson was allegedly in a relationship with someone who was born a biological man, right? So that's gay. So that's got to be on the left, right? Just because the right don't do that gay shit. Am I right, everybody? Am I right? Conservatives don't do that gay shit, right? Got to be on the left. Got to be. One of you drag queen reading at the library, liberal, radical extremists, y'all doing gay shit, has got to be on the left. Au contraire, because apparently the Nick Fuentes wing of this alt-right is doing gay shit, but don't you dare call it gay shit. It's wild. Well, let me say this real quick about Nick Fuentes. You know who Nick Fuentes' homeboy is? Kanye West. Kanye West has been in these alt-right spaces for some time now. If you peep it, Kanye's been over there in MAGA land damn near a decade. And they use people like Kanye West to engage our kids, okay? Kanye is a very useful idiot. He is happy to be a tool of the enemy, a tool of the empire. And you see he's paying a mental price for it. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's a mean thing to say. But maybe not, because Kanye is a bit of a punk motherfucker. So certain people, I'm not worried about hurting them niggas' feelings or their fan base's feelings. Go fuck yourself. Kanye it attempted to be a gateway for a lot of our young people. I think his mission was not successful. But I don't know. But hold on. So I want to move on to this issue. It's not even an issue. It's just an interesting facet of this culture. The feminization of boys, because the incel culture hates women so much. Like, they hate women. Like this, I can't even grasp this level of, detestment. Like, they hate women so much that they feminize boys and men to look like women so they can be with them. Like, they perceive it to, it's not gonna make sense. It's not gonna make sense. And that's not even, again, how they choose to express their sexuality is not the issue that I'm having. That's not what I find weird. What I find weird is that how you can do gay shit and be homophobic. Like, you can promote people transitioning from one gender to the next and be transphobic. Like, again, it's not supposed to make sense, Kim. It's not supposed to make sense. Stop trying to apply sense to it. Okay, well, let's just run the next clip and let's all watch this shit together. So come on.
Shooter turns out to have a feminine If the shooter turns out to have a feminine boyfriend, that strengthens the Groyper speculations. They are obsessed with femboys. Oh man, the chronically online wokeness is paying off. There exists a subsection of incels who are so celibate and hateful and fearful of women that they groom other incels into feminizing themselves for the sake of the cause. They call themselves operators and cosplay as characters like Ghost from Call of Duty and other very, very militarized characters in gear just to take that gear off and then being all ooh or oh whoa, hey, look at that. To be more specific, because I know a lot of you are actually looking for information, they wear military cosplays, but underneath those cosplays are like lingerie and knee-high socks. There's even a subsection of femcel who does the same thing, and the Groypers hate them. People are just now finding out that there exists a whole subsection of alt-right that genuinely views MAGA, the Make America Great Again movement, as liberal. And you're not even in the pipeline yet. You're looking at it from a way far away.
The pipeline into the incel culture is wild. And that's why when what was that unfortunate man's name who passed away from Red Bull and white women? What was it? What was the nigga name? Kevin Samuels. Now I know he was classified more as manosphere, but he kind of spurred off within the black manosphere. We would hear some of that black incel shit pop up, and the girls called it nigcel, and I died on the floor of laughter. They called them nigcels. And it was forever funny. But people like Kanye West help to put our kids in such a pipeline, right? Actually, even deep homophobia, which I think Tyler Robinson likely experienced in his Mormon household, but a lot of Black queer youth experience deep homophobia in their house as well, right? And even if these young queer kids are not expressing, like they're not expressing, I want to say softness, Jesus Christ, because I'm not trying to, but it's the best word. Pardon me, your Gen X auntie. If the little boy is soft or the little girl is a little rough around the edges or tomboyish, whatever you want to call the shit, I don't know. I don't have the vocabulary for it. Forgive me. It's ignorance. It's not meanness. But and now I done forgot what the fuck I was gonna say, because I'm an auntie. This is what aunties do. We try to clean up our language, and then we done forgot what offensive thing we were trying not to say in the first place. My point is this: you cannot make queer kids or kids that you think may become queer or are queer or whatever you want to characterize it or describe it as. You can't not put homophobia on them because you do not know how that shit will present itself later on. You don't know how these kids may interpret a condemnation on how they are presenting themselves in their gender expression or their sexual preference. They will oppress that, right? Or they will manifest that, or they'll push that down, and that will come out. Perhaps they will present itself in a negative way because they weren't affirmed as young people. They weren't affirmed in their formative years as you're fine the way you are. No. Or they get those messages, even if they're not demonstrating outwardly that they may have queer feelings, they may get those messages in the home that gayness is not okay, right? And so they stifle that, they suppress that, and that may come out not them expressing their sexuality, meaning that the repression that they felt within their home could present itself in a negative way in their life, in their personality, in their character, or something in the way that they engage with the world later. I hope I'm saying that okay. I'm probably not, but you guys know I'm not ignorant, nor am I homophobic, nor am I transphobic, but I am a little ignorant when it comes to like gender studies and shit, because I do have issues keeping uh gender, sex, and sexual orientation. I got and gender expression. I have to keep all that straight in my head. I'm like, wait, I'm getting confused. Are we talking about sex or gender? But the kids, younger people can rattle that shit off, no problem. And maybe older people can too. Again, I may be just very ignorant. But regardless, I don't have no ill will towards the LGBTQ folks. I want people to be left alone and be able to live their lives. And that's why I have a lot of curiosity as to whether or not Tyler Robinson was out to his family. Because it seems to me, and we've seen this oftentimes, that some of these closeted gay kids who come up in conservative households and environments, they have a tendency that they would rather go out and kill a person in the street than tell their dad that they're gay, right? Like having to accept consequences of committing a quote manly act of murder is preferable than having to look his MAGA conservative former cop dad in the face and tell him that he has a boyfriend, right? Or that his boyfriend is transitioning. What? Do you want to? The father would drop dead. I'm telling you. Isn't that interesting? And I think that Tyler anyway, I'm curious. I don't want to make an assumption that his family did not know about his sexuality, because that's part of the problem been with this whole scenario, is that motherfuckers is doing a lot of assumings. Peace to the goddess Windra. Thank you so much for your support, good sis, on the Venmo. Appreciate it. So wait, where was I? So anyway, hold on. So circling back to the femboys trans issue, and to be clear, I know we have open-minded folks here, and I know I usually don't press the limits of that open-mindedness. But some of these clips may make some of y'all uncomfortable, and I know people are unpacking their own phobias. You know what I'm saying? I was homophobic as a teenager, I think. I'm trying to think if I ever used the F word, which I'm certain that I did. But I normally, if I was going to call a man a F word, I was usually calling it to a straight man or boy, because you want to see a straight man, homophobic man head explode, call him an F. Don't do it now. But I mean, I'm thinking back in the 90s. You want to piss off a boy? Woo! Drop that F-bomb on him. He would be, and I'm talking about, well, allegedly, I was going to say niggas that dealt with chicks. I told y'all my boyfriend in the 9th grade turned out he became, you know what? Let me call him. Anyway, this next clip I'm going to play is from a trans sister named Dominique Morgan. I follow Dominique on TikTok. I like a good chunk of Dominique's content. Dominique, just some quick backstory so you know where this lady's coming from. They are a recent transitioner to ladydom, right? I think she said she's only been a trans woman for 5 years. She's about our age, well, my age, mid-40s. She was locked up for 10 years. She did time in prison. She's an abolitionist, amongst other things, social media influencer, et cetera. Pretty chick. So anyway, Dominique has some insight. And I appreciate where she's about to take us, because for all the blame that the so-called left is getting, and to be clear, when you think of gay, when you think of LGBTQ, you do think of the left, you don't think of the right. So that's part of the reason I wanted to show some of these clips to kind of broaden our perspective a little bit. Of course, we knew, and when I say doing gay shit, I don't mean that in a negative way, by the way. Well, unless it's predatory, which we know the right absolutely does that. But they do gay shit on the right too, right? And I didn't know to what extent it was out and accepted amongst these far right, alt-right spaces, right? I didn't realize they were out with it, which is interesting, right? I find that quite fascinating. But for the Charlie Kirk, JD Vance wing of the right, them blaming Tyler Robinson's partner for being trans or transitioning as the force that must have corrupted this young man. He was too close to the gay. Like look at what the gay did, right? Gay done drove this man, steal his granddad's pistol, well rather rifle with the $2,000 scope. Look at what the gay did in a whole semester of college, right? And Dominique is about to, with some hilarity and a little bit of not coarse language, but she may describe some things that may make y'all a little uncomfortable. But to be clear, this content is not for children. We all grown, so y'all be all right, okay? Y'all will be okay. But how is it that 22 years of Christian indoctrination into God's guns and country drove this young man to this act? This kid had more Mormon than he did femboy exposure, okay? Like he was more exposed to Mormonism and gun culture than he was his femboy baby boy, right? So make it make sense. Which culture needs to be getting the finger pointed at it for creating and fostering and nurturing America's young crop of snipers and mass shooters? I think this is Dominique up next. So yeah, hopefully I gave the right preface. Let's roll.
Happy Monday morning, everyone. Listen, I'm coming here to you on today to have a real conversation about some shit that may feel a little awkward to you all at sometimes, but I beseech thee to follow me as I go down this road of factual analysis to offer some clear understanding to the people. So the situation with this Tyler young man who unalived Charlie Kirk has continued to devolve because they are dedicated to laying this at the feet of trans people in some way, shape, or form. And now I wake up and I see all these videos where I guess the young man had a roommate. They're saying that it was his partner. I don't know what's happening. But now, at first it was college that radicalized him. Now it's the trans partner. And the governor is on CNN talking out of his ass without any facts, without any clear understanding or investigation, and just saying things to the type of idiots who are hungry to run away from accountability so much. They will blame all of the world's woes on 1% of the population. Trans people are 1% of the population. Okay, so I want to explain to you all that even if Tyler's partner was a trans woman, I don't even know, a trans person, why? In the world we live in, bitch, do you know how much effort you got to put in to have some influence over a piece of trade? I'm talking about critical influence. I ain't talking about the type of influence where you feel like, oh girl, he ain't never sucked a dick before and he sucked mine. They all say that, bitch. I'm talking about the type of influence that will send a man into the streets to take another man's life, to jump off of buildings at 30 feet, to tumble and dip and hide away. What piece of trade y'all know that can keep a secret? You telling me that this boy came out to his daddy, that he unalived a man, but he didn't come out to his daddy that he liked trans women? That's what y'all trying to tell me? Huh? Let's talk about it. So, bitch, hold on, bitch. It takes a level of focus and intentionality to train the trade to dush. These niggas will sacrifice every waking moment of their lives to get with a trans woman so they can have somebody put some titties on their back and some Arby's in their boochie quack, and it'll be dirtier than the motherfucking bottom of a motherfucking casket, bitch. You understand me? I'm talking a murky, dirty set. That in itself is a year of education and pushing and pulling. This boy was going for a semester of college, my God, on today. And a slight pivot, if this trans person has this type of facilitation skill to undo 19 years of white supremacist indoctrination in 90 days, bitch, you need to run for president. Where's the ebook, niece? Huh? Because, bitch, we're out here doing it wrong. Now, I understand. Them white girls get away with different shit. I get it. But no, ma'am. No, ma'am. There are trans women who have been with men for a decade that just got this man able to go get a job. And you, is this bitch Helen of Troy? My God. My God, 2J. You're telling me that the sheer existence of this trans person in this boy's life turns him into a wall-scaling assailant with a fucking rifle with engraved bullets. Most trans girls find niggas that can't even write their name. And you want to tell me this is her piece? And he out here etching gay inside of motherfucking bullets? The devil is a liar. The devil is a liar. I get it. The goal is to send some fucking camps. The goal is to figure out how you can take our fucking citizenship. The goal is to at minimum, create a database. Remember I said that. At minimum, the goal is to create a database. It's coming. There will be a trans watch list coming. It's coming. But y'all are full of shit. It don't happen like that. It don't happen like that. It'll take a year for a motherfucker to walk to your house in the daylight. This man ain't ever walked outside with this lady holding hands, but she sent him to chorus to scale a building like Tom Holland. That's what you trying to tell me? Trans people are fighting for sovereignty of our bodies and a portion of the love, respect, and kindness y'all allege a human being is supposed to have access to. That is a 24-hour job. And in that job, we trying to get a real job. Some bitches want a piece of going to school. A bitch want to be housed. And you know what? Maybe go on a vacation and maybe our parents look at us and be like, you're proud. Just like every other fucking human being. And above all else, and I'll end with this. If we did have some sales of trans women out here indoctrinating young people, why do you think that man would have been the first one? If we are indeed a community of black widows, huh? It's a Marvel set. Why would CK be the first? Yeah, okay.
The Dominique Morgan, everybody go follow. So Dominique obviously got off loads of funnies in their dissertation, but also kicking it with the real, with the blaming of the trans partner for Tyler Robinson's alleged actions. Because again, it's always somebody always got to put the white boys up to some shit, right? Like they always, well, he was deeply influenced by blah blah blah, and he had a black girlfriend, and then he was hanging out with his Hispanic friends, and then he went and shot up the jam. No, they always it's always when it comes to white boys, something else did it. You know, it was never their autonomous action. But Dominique brought up something that a couple of things. So listening to why why there's been so much aggressive policy, anti-trans policy, in terms of denying of gender affirming care, in terms of, you know, the bathroom issue in the kids sports, and why the right goes so hard at trans. It always was kind of a head scratcher because Dominique says trans population is 1%, right? Why, what's going on? I kind of understand, or I think I have maybe a slightly better understanding. The conservative Christian right is actually trying to preserve themselves because maybe more portions of their side are more trans than we know, right? So when you deny gender affirming care, when you stop these femboys in their transitioning tracks, right? Maybe the theory is then the cisgender alt-right boys who are dating the femboys, maybe they'll go knock a woman up. and then the woman has no choice but to keep that baby. That hence the abortion bans. Like maybe all of this policy, anti-LGBTQ, anti-trans, anti-woman, anti-reproductive access, these are more self-preserving actions than maybe I gave them credit for. You know, we were saying that, yeah, the anti-abortion laws are because they want to make more whites. Well, obviously they want to make more workers. They want to make a whole lot of other things, and people are discouraged via capitalism from reproducing, and I totally understand. But you know, the declining white population is something that the right, especially the white nationalist right, this is a very major concern for them. Not only here in Europe too, they worry about the white population. Well, them alt-right boys not gonna make no babies with they femme baby boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? Like, baby, you can transition, you know, to being a woman. That uterus is non-transferable though. You know what I mean? Well, at least for now. Maybe shit, they working on that shit. Science, you don't know what's gonna happen. But my goal in presenting this information to you was not so that you would understand. It's just that so when you hear this shit being talked about and parsed through in spaces, you won't be totally lost in the sauce. It's okay to be lost in the sauce because again, these people have no specific political direction, at least per the experts and per those who have traversed in the spaces in which these people inhabit and have inhabited deeply. By the way, again, can I say this again? All this deep online culture is because people don't want to watch their kids. And I know you're like, Kim, stop parent shaming. I'm not parent shaming per se. I'm just telling y'all what I observe. You know what I'm saying? And again, I don't knock parents for giving your kids the video game and for giving them the cell phone and telling you to go leave you the fuck alone. I understand, right? Like the concept of harboring children, of children leaving for school and then they come back to your house and then look at you for food, right? I can understand. I get it. That's why I ain't got none of them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Parenthood looks tough. Okay. I understand why you tell your kids to go play the game and kick rocks. I get it. You know what I'm saying? They're your little bundles of joy. And I know them niggas are annoying. I understand, but the problem is if you're not gonna watch them, if you're not gonna put the parental controls on, if you're not gonna pop in on them niggas after they had the door closed about 3-4 hours, just pop in, do the pop in and see what they got on the screen and who they talking to, what you talking about. Hey, let me listen to the headphones. What the fuck the niggas talking about? Like if you're not doing that shit, then you're leaving your kids to the influences and to the wiles of all of these weirdo whites on the internet. And I know it's not exclusively white people, but no, it is the ones who are pushing the violence. And again, the way they express their sexuality, again, is not what I find strange about it. it is the I mean, I don't want to say the nihilism. In some way, maybe it is the nihilistic aspect of it, that these white boys in particular are so hopeless that violence via gun violence is a rational, normal response, because again, they have no sense of empathy because they have been so desensitized to all of the violence and meme culture that they have been immersed in for all of their formidable years, all their formulative years. They don't have an empathetic or a compassionate response, right? To violence and death and, mass shootings and school shootings and the like. Talk to your kids and ask them what they know about this shit. And beyond even asking them what they know, ask them what they think. I don't know the way in way, and I hope to God, I know black kids and black young people participate in video game culture, and that is what it is. But the weirdo shit, the weirdo shit, we need to get an education on it, because the people that are coming of age now, that are in their young 20s, y'all, the time goes by quick. 20 years is gonna come before we know it. And those of us that have not been online or immersed in online spaces, particularly video gaming spaces with the youth, for the past 10 or 15 years, we are really going to not know what these little niggas is talking about, because I don't know what these little niggas is talking about right now. When I'm in my 60s, I'm going to have no clue what the fuck is going on. So anyway, to give you guys a little bit of a tiny little exposure to this madness that here we all find ourselves in. So let me close this out with our palate cleanser. Thank you all so much for coming to hang out. Please like the video. If you want to subscribe, you can do that. Hey, you guys, we are about 1,600 subscribers away from 10,000. So let's get there. Y'all got Black Liberation Media to 50K. You got to come and give Auntie 10K. Please and thank you. If you want to send support, like I said, shout out to Wendra. Appreciate you, Wendra. Hitting us with the blessings on the Venmo at BIDWKB. That's us on Cash App as well. $ BIDWKB. PayPal.me/BIDWKB, and of course Patreon.com/BIDWKB. I'm thinking about doing a Kim Switch turn up tomorrow. So if you're watching us on Twitch, what's up to Northern Wits? What's up to Rosalba and all the Twitch people them? If you're watching us tomorrow on Twitch, I might do a Kim Switch turn up. If you don't know what that is, well, how would you? I do it so infrequently. But I play the music that I like. In my former life, I used to spin the records on the radio station. Not actual records. I spun CDs. Anyway. So yeah. So anyway, I'm thinking about doing my little mini Ripperton. I have a mini Ripperton playlist, and this lady has like the most listenable voice. I just fall into her music. And yeah, so set your notifications over there on Twitch. I play music when I go over there sometimes. And last but not least, let me take y'all out with the palate cleanser. In case this was a piece of news that you may have missed, which is understandable because shit is crazy all the time, everywhere, in all the directions in which we look. So let me run this palate cleanser, because a different white assassin, except this white assassin captured hearts and minds and creamed panties of white gals everywhere. Maryland's own Luigi Mangione is facing charges for the murder of Universal Healthcare, whatever, United Healthcare Group CEO Douche McDouchersons. I don't know this nigga's name. Fuck him. But anyway, so there was some news, some movement in Luigi Mangione's case. So let's take a look. Maybe Will fell asleep. Will, wake up. Will, wake up.
Judge dismissing state terrorism charges against
Bring it back.
defendant Luigi Mangione.
Run it back from the
Now,
beginning.
New York judge dismissing state terrorism charges against defendant Luigi Mangione, but the judge keeping the state's second-degree murder charges. So this ruling came from a hearing that happened just this morning. The defendant was present at that hearing. His lawyers argued that the New York state case and the parallel federal prosecution case, which, by the way, federal prosecutors are seeking the death penalty in, his lawyers argued that these two cases amount to double jeopardy. Well, the judge rejected that legal argument, saying it would be way premature to make such a determination. However, the court had another rationale for the dismissal of the terrorism charges. The judge said in his opinion, in part, quote, while the defendant was clearly expressing an animus toward UHC and the healthcare industry generally, it does not follow that his goal was to intimidate and coerce a civilian population. And indeed, there was no evidence presented of such a goal, the judge writing. Now, Mangione pleaded not guilty in this case back in December of 2022. He's accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Stay with Court TV as we continue bringing you more updates on this case.
So that's a pretty interesting development, and I'm going to be brief here in my comments because I appreciate that a judge looked at the facts presented and determined that the state did not have the goods to make a case for terrorism, right? We saw something similar happen recently in Atlanta with the Cop City defendants who were facing RICO charges, also connected to alleged terrorism behind trying to stop the construction of Cop City. Their charges also dismissed. You know, if we're going to try to adhere to the veneer of democracy, you know, it helps when the judiciary actually makes rulings that legitimately make sense and are not here to blatantly do the state's bidding, right? We all know that the judges, prosecutors, even hell, the criminal defense attorneys, they're all in the shit together, right? They're all in cahoots to conspire against, you know, people that they deem enemies of the state per se, right? And Luigi, I think, has made himself absolutely an enemy of the elites, and they totally want to see him fry. But for these terrorism charges not to be sustained and to be dismissed so early, I think is an interesting turn of events. And again, to my New Yorkers, to my NYC residents, especially my registered voters, please be watching your mailboxes for your jury duty summons because you know, allegedly there's a concept called jury nullification. I don't really know about it, guys. I don't know what jury nullification is. But if you live in New York and you might be a registered voter, they might call on you for jury duty. You should totally look that up. I think it's something like, you know, once you go into the jury box, you can vote however you want and can't nobody do nothing to you. Nobody. So just a thought. So anyway, gang, ta-ta for now. Thank you all so much for watching. Do me a favor, please like the video on your way out the door. If you're not subscribed already, please take a moment to subscribe. Shout out to the undefeated Fire Fam. Big up to our wonderful mods. Thank you so much, Vesper, Donnie Bird. Who else we got in here? Tyler. Always shout out to Latif, Courtney, Magnolia D. When she come in here, shout out to all the, shout out to Chuck Diesel, even the Chuck Diesel coming here. Big up to all the mods. Big up to all my Fire Famers coming through. Thank you so much to Will and Molly. We'll see y'all back here Friday. Love you guys. Deuces. See ya, y'all. Peace.